You may have noticed the new postal delivery trucks are now out and about in Madawaska. How do these new vehicles serve the needs of the postal service, and how do the delivery drivers like them? We met with Michelle Roy, the Madawaska postmaster, to learn more about these new vehicles and answer those questions. She first commented on the conditions of the older vehicles.
The vehicles we had here at the Madawaska Post Office, they were called LLV, long life vehicles, and they were long life. They actually were built in the 1980s. The ones we had here in Madawaska were from the early 90s. They have been here for many decades, and they were starting to fail. Like any vehicle, they had over 100,000 miles, 200,000 miles, one of them had. So we were constantly having to replace parts, the wear and tear, the mailman stopping at every driveway every day. It was exhausting on the system for the brakes and the engine start and stop. But they were designed perfectly for mail delivery. Back in 1990, 2000, we were delivering a lot more mail, not so much packages. But I'm sure the people in town have noticed there's been a big change in the style of mail we are delivering to the homes. So the vehicles weren't adequate for the size of the packages that we've been receiving lately. So it was time that the post office, upgraded those vehicles. So they were old.
Then she continued to talk about the new vehicles.
So this vehicle we're standing in right now is called the Next Generation Delivery Vehicle. We call them Next Gens for short. They were made to replace the aging fleet we had nationwide. There are other vehicles that came out in between this one, the Next Gen, and the LLVs that the local people have seen here in town. We also have another one here, the Metris. It's a smaller right-hand drive van. That was created probably within the last 10 years. And then there's a ProMaster, which is a larger van, but it's not right-hand drive. So it's not made for delivering in a neighborhood where the carrier needs to deliver the mail from the window. So they never sent us one of those because it wouldn't work for our setup in the town. These vehicles were manufactured by Oshkosh Defense. They are out of Wisconsin. They put a bid on for our contract. It's a multi-billion-dollar contract that they were awarded. They also create military tactical style vehicles. I think that the reason that they were chosen out of the other people that were bidding for the contract is they are made in the USA from Wisconsin, and they also had the capability of producing electric vehicles, which this fleet, they have their contract is to make 165,000 of these new vehicles. There's a percentage that'll be electric, and there's a percentage that will be gas powered, and there's also another percentage that will have all-wheel drive, and there was some that will not have all-wheel drive. We were fortunate enough here in Madawaska that they realized it is winter more than summer, and they did send us all-wheel drive vehicles and gas-powered ones. We do not have any electric-powered ones here. I'm proud to say that the United States Postal Service did choose somebody in the USA, and they have 10 years. They have 10 years to build and distribute the 165,000 new Next Gens vehicles. So it's a good contract for somebody in the USA. It's pretty cool.
According to Ms. Roy, Madawaska was one of the earliest recipients in Maine.
So they actually started distributing these vehicles nationwide. I shouldn't say nationwide because it's a very small percentage of the people who have received them so far. Atlanta, Georgia was the first to receive these back in the fall of 2024. Portland, Maine was the first office in the state of Maine to receive them, and they only received theirs in October of 2025. So the Northeast took a little bit longer to get their first next gens delivered. So we here in Madawaska were one of the first north of Bangor to receive them. Madawaska, along with Millinocket and Lubec, were chosen. And I do believe it probably got chosen because our fleet here was extremely aged. And it was, we were constantly having to bring them to the mechanic shop. And when you're down a vehicle that, we rely on it to deliver the mail, I think that our district offices realized that and kind of moved us maybe to the top of the list. And we do thank them for that. For why we got chosen and the timing of it all, to be honest, I opened my email one day and there it was saying, get your people trained. We had to, each carrier had to take a 4-hour training to be able to, learn all the safety features on the vehicle. So as to say it's mandated, it was a welcomed mandate because we were really looking forward to getting vehicles that would make their job easier.
How have the new vehicles impacted the postal delivery experience?
There is definitely way more advantages than disadvantages. I asked the carriers this morning what they'd like me to share with the community about the new vehicles, and they love the all-wheel drive. The winters here are really long, and we are out there through rain, sleet, snow. Everybody knows the slogan, and so it makes it a lot easier for them when they can actually drive through the roads and the snow-covered roads. They love the space. As you can see, we're standing up in the back here where they can load all their packages. There's plenty of space. The standing up in the vehicle, I think, is one of their favorite features as well, because in the old LLVs, you had to crouch down in the back to be able to get there. And as you can see, there's a nice walkway where the carrier sits in the front to where they come and retrieve their mail in the back. It's very functional for them, and they also love the safety features of the vehicle. So this vehicle was designed to help abate the safety, I would say, incidents we've had nationwide with the post office. The other vehicles, the other LLVs that we had were known to disengage from park, and they would sometimes roll down the street. They would slip out of park, or they would, they were very unreliable towards the end. So this vehicle actually, when you park, automatically sets the park brake. This vehicle also has 360-degree safety cameras around all sides of the vehicle, 360 degrees. I asked the carriers this morning how much better it is. They said the bestest it can be. It really is. It's made their job so much easier. The loading, the amount. So just for an example, 5, maybe 10 years ago, I would say even 5 years ago, a carrier would probably hit the street with maybe 10 to 15 packages a day. Today, they're hitting the street with 70 to 120, or maybe even more a day. The style of delivery has changed, and the vehicle that we used to have just wasn't adequate enough. And so this really has given them an opportunity to do their job as efficiently as possible and safe as possible. Like I said, the safety features on the vehicle, the 360-degree safety cameras, the automatic park brake, the load leveling. They said when you're turning into a street off of Main Street, you don't even notice. It's just so smooth. It's almost like it keeps the load in here level, and they have not too much negative to say. So it's pretty awesome. I would just like to say that I think the carriers and all the employees in this office are pretty proud to be the generation in a small town like this that was able to bring in the new vehicles. And it's things that the young kids will remember, because I remember it always being the older LLV style white Jeeps. These are big. They're very noticeable. Some people would even say they're a little funny looking, but the style of it was designed for a reason. and it's making the carrier's job a lot easier, and I think it's just pretty neat to be the generation that actually brought them to this town.